All right, this is the 7th grade textbook. We're looking at chapter 4, section 1. We are going to be combining like terms here. So if we are thinking about a term is any portion of an expression or an equation by itself. So for instance, if we had something like 5t plus 6t minus 7t, if we were looking at that, each one of these is considered a term of this expression here. What we're going to do is we are going to combine them, meaning we're going to put them together. What I typically teach students to do is to consider each of your terms as a type of fruit or a shape or something like that. If they are exactly the same with the variable that's attached, then they are the same type of fruit or the same shape. So for instance, we have 5t, 6t. Those are the same because there's no exponents. They have a different number of t's attached, but they are still t's. 7t. Okay, so these are all going to be circles in this example. They're all something that we can put together because the only variable that's attached to these is a plain Jane t. Now, I want you to notice something that we did here is we included the sign in our circle. So for instance, we have that plus 6t. I put that inside of my circle when I circled 6t so that I knew that it was going to be acting as a positive number. Now, if we look at the next one though, I included this subtraction sign here with my 7t so that we can say that it's acting like a negative number. Let's go ahead and put them together. We start just like your typical PEMDAS or order of operations. You start from the left and move to the right. There's no multiplication. There's no parentheses, there's no exponents to solve here, there's no multiplication, there's no division, we only have addition and subtraction. And so we're going to solve it from left to right. 5t plus 6t. What that means is you're really looking at, since they have the same exact variable, we know that they're like terms, they're super duper similar. We can go ahead and just put together that coefficient. The coefficient is the number that comes before that variable. 5 plus 6 is 11, and we keep that same variable. And I'm going to drop down the rest of my problem. What's left is minus 7t. So again, we are really looking at the coefficient and the sign here. 11 minus 7. We can do that because they're both terms with t in them, just plain Jane t. And we know that that is going to equal 4. We keep that term. We've combined all three of those to equal 4t. Let's look at another one here. For instance, if we were looking at say 3n minus 8n plus 5n. So we're going to go through, we're going to find the parts that are including the same exact terms or variables here. And we can see that This is just a plain Jane n. This also is a plain Jane n. This is a plain Jane n. Okay, so we should be able to combine all of those terms. They would all represent the same type of term here so that we can actually put the same shape around them. We start from left to right. There's only addition and subtraction here. 3 minus 8. They don't have the same sign, they have different signs, so I'm going to subtract. 8 minus 3 is 5. And I keep the sign of the larger number, which in this case is 8. 8 was a negative, so negative 5n here. And I copy down the rest of my problem. Plus 5n. All right, so here we go again. Negative 5 plus 5 equals 0. There is nothing left here. Let's see that with something that is a little bit different. For instance, we are looking at maybe an x squared minus y plus 2x squared plus 3y. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through it and see which of these actually match. So the variable in this first term is x squared. No coefficient, no number in front of it. Are there any other x squareds in here? If we look to our third term, here's another x squared. So these two I'm going to be circling. These could be color-coded. Remember, we're keeping that sign in the front. So these two go together. They have the same exact variable here. Let's see what else we can find. We have a y and another variable that's just a y. I'm going to put these in a triangle so I know that they are going to go together, and now I can actually solve. I start with one of my problems. Or terms, I'm going to start with the x's, the x squareds here. So if there is no number in front of a variable, we know that it actually just represents 1. 1 plus, I'm going straight to my next circle, 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. And I keep that same variable. Now I can move on to my y's. Negative y, which equals 1 here because there's no variable or no coefficient in front of it. So negative 1 plus 3, we're just putting together our triangles now because they have the same terms. Negative 1 plus 3, they have opposite signs, which means subtract. 3 minus 1 equals 2. And I'm going to be keeping that sign of the larger number here. 3 is the larger number, so we're going to keep it at positive. So in front of my answer, I'm going to put a plus sign. And I keep my same variable. We were working with y's, so I did negative 1y plus 3y equals positive 2y. I put them together. This is the answer to my new problem.